Alex leaned back against the wall of his private changing room, finally letting out a deep sigh. The last mission had been exhausting, with enemy skirmishes, system malfunctions, and unexpected ambushes. His body ached, but the relief of returning to the quiet of his own space felt almost as rewarding as the victory itself. He had earned a brief moment of peace, a chance to remove the armor that had protected him in the chaos of battle. The starship hummed softly around him, its corridors empty at this hour. Most of the crew were off duty, resting after the long mission. The hum of machinery, the faint flicker of lights, and the subtle scent of the starship's recycled air formed the background of his sanctuary. For Alex, these moments alone were precious, a rare opportunity to reflect without the constant pull of duty. He began peeling off his heavy armor, piece by piece, feeling the tension in his muscles slowly melt away. He had just set his helmet aside when a faint sound caught his attention. A soft shuffle, almost imperceptible, echoed in the room. Alex's instincts kicked in immediately. His hand went to his comm device, ready to call for security, but he paused. The sound was too light, too cautious for any ordinary intruder. It almost seemed deliberate, but not threatening. Before he could react further, the source of the sound revealed itself. From behind a corner of the room, a small figure appeared. Alex blinked. The figure was clearly alien, humanoid in shape, but with luminous skin that shimmered faintly in the room's lighting. Her eyes were wide, filled with a mix of awe and nervous excitement. Alex froze for a moment, caught completely off guard. Who are you?" he asked, his voice steady but cautious. The alien stepped forward, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. I am Lyra," she said, her voice musical, almost vibrating with excitement. "I mean no harm. I only wish to see you in person." Alex's brow furrowed. Seeing someone sneak into his private changing room was one thing, but hearing that they had come all the way from another planet just to meet him was something else entirely. "You're a fan?" he asked, trying to process the situation. Lyra nodded eagerly. "Yes, I have watched your missions from my world, your bravery, your intelligence. You are admired across many systems. I wanted to meet the human hero." Her voice trembled slightly with nervous energy, and Alex couldn't help but notice the genuine awe in her expression. Alex lowered his comm device slowly. He had dealt with plenty of threats, and none had looked like this. None had seemed so innocent, so eager to connect rather than attack. Still, he maintained a careful stance, one hand near his side just in case. "All right," he said cautiously. "You need to explain how you got aboard this ship. Sneaking into a restricted area is serious." Lyra's ears, or what Alex assumed were ears, twitched nervously. "I used stealth technology from my ship. I did not intend to break rules. I only wanted a brief moment to see you. I understand if you are angry." Alex studied her for a moment. She was small and slender, certainly not a physical threat. Yet the sheer audacity of sneaking onto a military vessel was impressive in itself. He couldn't help but smile faintly. "You're lucky you're charming," he said, shaking his head. "Most people who do what you just did don't get a second chance." Lyra's eyes lit up at the faint praise. "Thank you. I promise I will not cause trouble." She glanced around the room nervously, her tail, or what Alex now noticed as a luminous appendage, swishing lightly behind her. "I only wish to meet the hero I have admired for so long." Alex sighed, finally relaxing slightly. He had faced alien warlords, rogue AI, and countless battles, yet he had never encountered an admirer like this. "All right, Lyra," he said. "You can stay a moment, but you need to understand, this is highly unusual. One wrong move, and security would have been called immediately." Lyra nodded vigorously. "I understand. Thank you, Alex. I am honored to be here." There was a pause as they both took in the situation. Alex, used to handling emergencies and tactical decisions, found himself navigating an entirely different kind of challenge: diplomacy, patience, and curiosity. Lyra, on the other hand, seemed overwhelmed by the proximity of the human she had admired for so long. She shifted from foot to foot, clearly unsure of how to behave in such an unfamiliar environment. Alex decided to break the tension. "So, tell me about your world," he said. "You traveled across star systems just to see me, that's impressive. But I want to understand why humans are so fascinating to you." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Your species is remarkable. You rely on intelligence, courage, and adaptability. While many beings depend on advanced technology alone, humans find ways to succeed even with limited tools. Your actions inspire those across galaxies." "Even beings like me," Alex raised an eyebrow. "That's flattering, but most humans don't think of themselves that way." Lyra smiled shyly. "Perhaps not, but we see it differently. Courage is universal and humans excel at it." For a moment, Alex found himself reflecting on the truth of her words. He had always relied on strategy, teamwork, and ingenuity to overcome challenges. The idea that these traits could inspire admiration on an interstellar scale was humbling. The room fell quiet for a moment, the soft hum of the ship filling the space between them. Then Lyra stepped closer, careful to respect boundaries. "I did not mean to intrude. I simply wished to understand the human hero better, to see if the stories were true." Alex chuckled softly. "Well, you found me. And yes, some of the stories are true. Others are exaggerated. But I suppose that's what makes heroes interesting." Lyra nodded, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Can you tell me about your missions, your battles, how you make decisions when everything seems impossible?" Alex leaned back against the wall, considering how much he should reveal. "I can tell you some things," he said finally. "Not classified information, of course, but how humans think in critical moments. The key is to remain calm, assess the situation quickly, and trust your instincts. Sometimes the unexpected solution is the one that works best." Lyra listened intently, absorbing every word. "Humans are clever. I can see why you are admired. Your ability to think, adapt, and act. It is extraordinary." They talked for a while longer, with Alex sharing anecdotes of past missions, and Lyra explaining customs and technologies of her world. Despite the unusual circumstances, the conversation flowed naturally. Alex found himself genuinely enjoying the exchange, appreciating the perspective of someone from a completely different culture. Eventually, Lyra glanced toward the door. "I should not stay too long. I must return before anyone notices." Alex nodded. "All right. But before you go, thank you. This is the most unusual visitor I've ever had, and also the most interesting." Lyra smiled, her skin shimmering slightly in the light. "And thank you, Alex, for understanding, for listening. You truly are the hero everyone says you are." With that, she activated her stealth device and began to fade from view. Alex watched her disappear, still shaking his head in disbelief. No mission, no battle, no strategy manual had prepared him for an alien fangirl sneaking into his private space. As the door sealed behind her, Alex leaned against the wall, thinking about the encounter. He had always believed heroism was about courage and action, about leading a team through impossible odds. But perhaps it was also about connecting with others, inspiring them, even across light years of distance and countless differences in biology and culture. The quiet of the changing room returned, and Alex finished removing his armor, reflecting on the strange yet meaningful interaction. For the first time, he felt the weight of admiration not as a burden, but as a reminder of the impact humans could have across the galaxy. Somewhere out there, he knew, Lyra would carry her experience with him as proof that courage, ingenuity, and human spirit could inspire beings far beyond Earth. And as odd as the situation had been, Alex couldn't help but feel a small sense of pride. Tomorrow he would face new challenges, new missions, and perhaps new admirers. But for now, in the quiet of his private quarters, he allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. The galaxy was vast, strange, and full of surprises, and humans, it seemed, had a way of standing out no matter where they went. The next morning, Alex woke to the soft hum of the starship and the faint glow of distant stars streaming through the viewport. The previous night's encounter with Lyra still lingered in his mind. He had faced countless dangers across the galaxy, but meeting an admirer in such an unexpected way had been unique. There was a certain charm to the situation, and it reminded him that humans left impressions far beyond their own worlds. Alex went through his morning routine, checking mission logs and running brief system diagnostics. The ship was running smoothly, but a few minor glitches had appeared overnight. Nothing critical, but enough to occupy his attention for a while. Just as he was about to leave the quarters, a soft chime sounded on his communicator. He glanced at the display and saw a small, unmarked signal approaching the ship. Curious, Alex initiated a scan. To his surprise, the signal wasn't hostile, it was Lyra. Somehow she had found a way to reach him again, this time more openly. He activated the airlock communications. "Lyra, is that you?" he asked. "Yes, Alex," came her musical voice, tinged with excitement. "I have returned. I wanted to thank you properly and perhaps assist with your ship's minor issues. I can help." Alex raised an eyebrow, both amused and cautious. "Assist? All right, but you need to follow protocol this time. No sneaking around." Lyra giggled softly. "Agreed. I promise." When she arrived, Alex guided her through the corridors, explaining the ship's systems and basic safety measures. She moved carefully, clearly fascinated by every detail. She was intelligent and quick to learn, asking insightful questions about how humans had designed and adapted these systems. Alex found himself impressed by her curiosity and willingness to understand. As they walked, a sudden alert sounded. One of the ship's secondary power systems had shorted during a routine check. Sparks flew from a console, and a faint odor of ozone filled the air. "Looks like your timing isn't accidental," Alex muttered with a wry smile. "Good thing you're here." Lyra nodded, her eyes narrowing as she studied the console. "Show me what to do," she said confidently. She extended a hand, and a small holographic interface appeared from her wrist device, overlaying the damaged system with diagrams and repair instructions. Alex watched as she quickly analyzed the problem. Together, they worked to reroute the system's power and stabilize the malfunctioning circuits. Alex gave instructions, demonstrating which components to disconnect and recalibrate. Lyra's alien technology allowed her to execute some steps faster than a human could, and her understanding of energy systems complemented his practical approach. Within minutes, the power system hummed steadily again. Alex clapped lightly, impressed. "Not bad. You may be my first fan to actually improve my ship's performance." Lyra beamed. "Humans teach well, and your approach to problem-solving is inspiring. I learn quickly when guided properly." Alex shook his head, smiling. "I've never met someone who admires humans this much and can actually help at the same time. It's refreshing." With the minor crisis resolved, they continued exploring the ship. Alex showed Lyra the observation deck, where stars stretched across the blackness of space like glittering threads. Lyra floated near the window, marveling at the scale and beauty of the universe. "Incredible," she whispered. "Your species, humans, you reach for the stars in ways few others dare." Alex leaned on the railing, reflecting. "We do what we must. Curiosity, courage, and sometimes a bit of stubbornness drive us forward." I guess it's one reason humans get noticed across the galaxy. Lyra turned to him, her expression serious. You are more than a hero, Alex. You embody the qualities that make your species remarkable. Bravery, intelligence, and compassion. You do not just fight battles, you inspire. Alex looked away, modest despite her praise. I just try to do what's right. That's all anyone can do. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft ping from the ship's AI. Captain, an unauthorized object is approaching from the rear sensor array. Estimated arrival in 2 minutes. Alex straightened immediately. Everyone, prepare for interception. Lyra, stay close. The object approached swiftly, revealing itself as a small, unarmed alien scout drone. It wasn't aggressive, but it had been monitoring the ship without permission. Alex and Lyra quickly boarded the control panel to analyze it. Its technology is crude compared to ours, Alex said. But the fact that someone tried to spy shows interest, or suspicion. Lyra nodded. I can interface with it. My species has sensors compatible with most interstellar devices. Together, they accessed the drone's internal memory. It contained observational data of the starship, but no hostile commands. The information suggested curiosity, not aggression. Alex frowned slightly. Curiosity, across species, it seems, is everywhere. Just like yours, Lyra. Lyra smiled softly, her presence calm yet energetic. Humans understand courage and curiosity like few others. It resonates even with those far from your planets. The interaction with the drone ended peacefully, and Alex reflected on how humans' influence reached further than he had imagined. Courage, intelligence, and integrity were qualities that inspired admiration across the stars, sometimes even more than strength or advanced technology. Later, Alex guided Lyra to the ship's training deck. He wanted her to see how humans trained for space missions and combat, not as spectators, but as participants. Lyra observed humans performing tactical exercises, learning quickly and asking questions about strategies and reasoning behind each movement. Your species adapts fast, Alex said as he demonstrated a maneuver. You use your mind and your instincts together. That's why humans survive where others might fail. Lyra mirrored the motions with careful precision. Her alien physiology was different, yet she understood the principles and applied them effectively. Humans combine intellect and action seamlessly. You solve problems in ways that are unexpected yet efficient. That is admirable. Hours passed as they trained and shared knowledge. The dynamic between them shifted subtly, from curiosity to respect, from admiration to genuine teamwork. Lyra's enthusiasm and intelligence complemented Alex's experience and leadership. Together, they were more than the sum of their parts. As the ship drifted through the endless void of space, Alex finally allowed himself a moment of reflection. In all his missions, he had relied on his own skills and those of his crew. Yet this encounter with a being from a completely different world reminded him of something important. Courage and intelligence were not just tools of survival, they were a bridge. They could connect species, inspire admiration, and foster cooperation in ways that weapons and technology alone could not. Lyra, standing near the viewport, looked back at him. I have learned so much today, Alex, not only about your ship, but about humans. You are truly extraordinary, not just for what you do, but for how you think and act. Alex nodded, feeling the weight of her words. Thank you, Lyra. Your perspective reminds me that humans are noticed, even far beyond Earth, for more than just their battles. We leave impressions because of who we are, curious, courageous, adaptable. Eventually, Lyra prepared to leave. She had a long journey back to her homeworld, and Alex wanted to ensure her safe departure. They walked together to the airlock, the bond between them no longer defined by distance or difference, but by mutual respect. "Farewell, Alex," Lyra said, her skin glowing softly. "You are more remarkable than the stories say. I will carry the lessons of today with me always." "Safe travels, Lyra," Alex replied. "And thank you for reminding me why being human matters." With a wave, Lyra activated her transport device and vanished from the ship, leaving Alex alone once more. He watched the empty corridor, thinking about how unusual the past 24 hours had been. An unexpected visitor, a small crisis averted, lessons exchanged, admiration shared. It was unlike any mission he had faced. Yet in its strangeness lay a truth. Humans mattered. Not just for their strength, not just for their victories, but for their ability to think, adapt, and inspire. That was what made Alex a hero, not just in the stories, but in the hearts of those who had watched and learned from him, even across galaxies. The starship continued its journey through the endless void, carrying Alex and his crew toward new missions, new challenges, and new opportunities to show the galaxy what humans could do. And somewhere out there, Lyra would tell her people about the human hero she had met, the one who embodied courage, intelligence, and integrity. Alex returned to his quarters, the events of the day settling into memory. He felt a quiet satisfaction, a deeper understanding of what it meant to be human in a universe full of marvels, dangers, and endless possibilities. Humans, he realized, were remarkable not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they could face the unknown, adapt, and inspire others to do the same. And that, Alex thought with a small smile, was the kind of hero anyone could admire.